What's up? My name's Evan Craig, and today we're in my crappy studio inside my dorm room, and we're going to be doing a tutorial on how I did the synths in the drop of my new song, Where You Are, that's going to be coming out soon. It's unreleased. I'm super excited. It's going to be cool. So I've shown the song to a few of my friends, and they've asked, how I did it, and what I really did on the synths. So I figured I'd walk through and kind of show how I did the layering and the sound design and everything. And then this allows people to, if they want to, kind of base some sounds off of what I've done and implement it in their own original music, they can do that. So let's get into it. So the song basically has 3 different parts to the drop. The first part is right when the drop starts, which is, which is this part right here. Kind of gets the up and down, nothing else going on. And that has, as well, a background layer. But then there's the part that kind of walks down, the second part of the drop. And then there's this third part of the drop, which I think is super spacey. And I'll show you how I did all those real quick. So there's really 3, or I guess 4 main parts synth-wise in the layering process. So the first, that I'll probably explain last, but the first one is this part right here. It's kind of just a background synth and kind of adds to the whole rhythm of the song and the whole bop of the song. There's as well, on the spacey part, there's not too much going on, but there's this track. And I've layered that twice, so I love that. I love that part. But after that, there's the 2 kind of tracks that go with each other. So when I originally wrote this, I wrote it on the piano. And what I like to do is when I'm writing a song, I'll start on the piano and I'll make a bunch of different parts that sound good with the song. And then I'll input them into the program from the piano, and then I'll try to make a synth sound or something from that. So when I started off, I had 2 main piano parts. The first one is this one right here. This is the up and down pattern, but it's a pretty catchy tune in my opinion. So there was that, and then I made this second part right here on piano as well. And I was actually going to put that part in at a different part of the song, but I ended up layering them over each other, and I thought it sounded super, super cool. So I'll show you what that sounds like real quick. So both of them over each other sounded like... So I was like, dang, that's nice. So I ended up keeping them in there and keeping them layered over each other for the second part of the drop. But I knew I didn't want to have them both be pianos, so I knew I needed to kind of design a synth that sounded more electronic and gave it more of a fatness to the actual sound. But I knew the piano part, I wanted it to still be the main sound that you're hearing in the actual synth. So let's go into that first one, the one that is kind of just walking up and conflicting with that one that's walking down. So that's that sound right there. Also, the biggest thing when you're designing these sounds is this is really all about layering. Many people can go on Nexus or Serum or Massive, more specifically, and design a sound or something they like, and that's cool, but I really think you need to be doing that as well as layering it with a bunch of other different sounds to make it sound original and make it sound like it's yours. So the first sound I've got in this layer chain right here is this one, which I made on Serum. And the deal with this sound that I really liked was I knew the up and down rhythm. I wanted the notes to kind of flow into each other really well. So on this, I had adjusted this portamento knob right here pretty high to a 73 to get the notes to sound, like the flow is going into each other a lot. So I'll show you what it sounds like if you drag the portamento even up more. So you can see how it kind of flows a lot. I think that's what Marshmallow uses, is that portamento. He uses a lot of that. So that is just a pretty basic. Otherwise, I got some effects on it. I got some filter, distortion, EQ. Nothing too heavy. Then I actually, right here for the second track, I took a violin sample that I got online and chopped it up and put it in a sampler so you could so you can play any note on it. I think this is the original sample, what that sounds like when you download it. An important thing about samples is a lot of them can be copyrighted, so that's where a lot of producers and songwriters run into problems, is they'll actually take a sample that's already been copyrighted and try and put in their music, and when people find out about that, they get in big trouble and they can end up getting sued, getting their song taken off. So it's really important to make sure you're downloading a sound from the right place. I use splice.com, which is very good for downloading samples that are totally legal to use. I know there's like sounds.com as well, and those are just like you pay a monthly membership and you get credits and you can download however many samples you want. So just a little advice right there, because it can get messy if you are using something that's copyrighted. So pretty simple track right there though, otherwise just the sample. Right here I've got a Massive track going. This is Massive, and this is literally just, I was looking through presets and I found this one I liked. I think it kind of sounds like a flute or something, so I put it in. This is another Massive track right here. This is the same thing. Actually, wait, I was looking at the wrong one. Hold up. This one's another preset I found, Joe Weatherlead. But I added a few effects to it. I added some reverb, some of the Ableton reverb. I actually really like the Ableton reverb. The Ableton reverb that just comes stock with the program, I really don't have any complaints about it. I think it sounds good. I usually use this large hall one a lot. It gives it a really, really spacey feel. And then I put some EQ on it as well, just kind of bring it all together. But that's the main parts of that first aspect of the synth right there. Now we'll tackle this walking down one right here. So like I said, I wanted the piano to be really prominent in that. So I started off with this piano right here, and I built off of that. So I've got a Serum track going as a second track. And this is actually the same one I had from the previous track with the portamento, so that it allows the notes to flow back and forth really well. I took that and added it into this one. So it's the same Serum preset. You just gotta really mess around with the portamento on that. Then for this one, I've got another Serum track, and this is funny. I actually literally took initial screen that Serum gives you, the default one, and I thought it sounded really cool with the noise, so I ended up just putting it in kind of as a filler, but it just sounded like there's no work there. It's just a default. But I mean, that's the thing about layering. You want as much and as little in as possible. It's really all about personal preference and what you want to do. For me, I like to layer a lot. Some other people can maybe design a sound a little better that they think they like, but I think the real sound design comes when you add all the different layers in together and hear that noise. So next I've got a massive track. This is Cruthin's Orbit. This preset I think is just so spacey and all over the place, and it should be because that's an asteroid that is in the name. So here I didn't do too much to it. I added a little distortion, the effects, kind of make it a little less spacey, which is hard to believe you can do after hearing that. Right here I've got another preset that was in there, and I ended up adding some OTT, some more reverb and some more EQ on that, and this one just kind of adds to the vibe of the song. Just the overall, it lets it ring out a little bit more too, which I think is good, because if you're not letting anything ring out, then you'll just have spaces in the song where nothing's playing, and that's not very good. So I've got the same thing again, just without all the reverb and stuff on it, and that's just, again, layering. If you want something to sound a little more powerful, maybe just put 2 tracks of it in, versus turning the volume up. That way you can kind of pan it right to left as well to give it more into the song. So this right here is another Serum preset. Yeah, so this one I actually ended up using, I made that preset, and it's the same thing that I used up here in this synth, and it lets it air out. It gives it that delay, which is very nice and contributes to the overall vibe of the song. So, and then we've got this last massive track on that chain right there, and this is again just another preset, done a little bit to the knobs, but that sounds like I think that one sounds kind of like a muted electric piano. I don't know, but it sounds cool, and it definitely adds to the whole song. So here's the other synths right here, and these are just playing in the background, like I said. This one is a Serum one. I added some EQ to it. I took out some of the lower parts, and then as well I've got this in there and another reverb. Here is another Serum. I actually got a preset from a website, and it's supposed to sound like the something just like this drop, I guess. But I feel like it contributes to the overall noise very well. You know, it's got a very low cutoff, so it doesn't ring out for a long time. It just cuts off real quick, which is kind of cool. And then this right here was actually the same, I think, if I'm right. Yeah, I ended up taking the SLK violin sample from before and I put it in the same pattern as these notes, and then I froze the track, and then I converted it to an audio track, and then I adjusted the what's it called? I transposed it to be in the key that this song's in. I think this song's in E major, I think. So I transposed it to E major and then worked with it from there. And all these ones together sound like so that's all you got under there. And another thing is, like, especially with that violin track, like, that sounds horrible by itself. But that's one of the cool things about the layering. Sometimes adding maybe not the perfect sound or something that sounds just a tiny bit off, that's not going to, throw the whole song off, is pretty cool and really contributes to the overall song itself. I know, like, when you're watching live music or something, every note's not going to be played perfectly. Every note's not going to be exactly in tune. So it gives it more of like a personal feel to it. Because when you have everything sounding just perfect, it really sounds like you're making it on the computer, which we are doing, but we want to sound just a little bit more original and something that like a person actually made. So I continued to bring these over for the third drop. I turned them down quite a bit. And like I said, all we've got over here is these two massive presets. And that's pretty much it on the synth right there. I could go into the drums and everything. That's a whole nother animal, though. Another thing that really contributes to the synths, I think, is this 808. These two 808 tracks are kind of running. So there's one of them. I really like when we get to the second drop, the 808 just kind of helps build it up. I've got this riser right here that helps build up to the drop. But other than that, I've also got this 808 playing that rises up to the drop, and I switched it up right here to go, which I think is really cool. And when you add it into everything, and it's just the subtle things like that I think can really make a song. But yeah, back to the third drop. Nothing too much going on. Really, the 808 contributes a lot to that. It's just I literally have the same massive. I add this kickstart in right here, which is a plugin by Nicky Romero, and it just what it is. It's a side chain that can go at 1/8, 1/4, 1/2 time, and with the beat it just kind of cuts up the beat, so you get that boom, boom, boom effect. That probably looks really stupid. So yeah. And then there's just a EQ on there, and additionally, like I said, I love using that large hall reverb on this track and a lot of my other tracks. I think it sounds cool. There's also, in this third drop, there's also this part right here, which is the walk down thing again. That thing sounds cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it on that. Not too much. This is, like I said, this is a big song. It's already got 46 tracks going in it, and I've still got to do all the vocals and everything. I've got them written, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So let me know if you guys got any more questions on it. other than that, I think that's it. So thanks for watching. Peace.